Hey, it's Friday, and I promised you that I would keep things as real as possible around here. It does not get more real than this. I have not showered yet. I am going to the gym. And if this is looking kind of rough, what's about to happen inside of that gym is going to look even rougher. But you know what? I am trying. And that's all that we can be really proud of right now. And I am. I'm very excited about this. So I'm headed into the gym in a minute. And before I do that, I wanted to put up this morning's video because I know that some of you look forward to it before you head into work with kids in the morning. I wanted to spend some time this morning talking about something that doesn't get a whole lot of airplay online, but that always comes up when I'm working on the ground with teachers, whether it's around instructional practices for argument or opinion writing, or whether we're designing curriculum, especially when we're designing curriculum. It's kind of the elephant in the room. What do we do when kids want to share opinions and arguments and explore topics that are not only highly controversial, but that make people uncomfortable? Whether it's us or the other kids in the classroom or their parents or other adults in their community or even globally. What do we do to help writers frame their arguments and opinions in a way that's not simply evidence-based, but that is also sensitive to other people in the room? Couple of different things that we have tried in some schools that I've supported over the last couple of years that I thought I would share quickly. First of all, making it very clear to the kids in your room that there are some topics that are potentially triggering and even traumatizing for other kids in the classroom. So while it might be perfectly comfortable for some high school students to write about abortion rights, for instance, that might be a conversation that for all sorts of different and varied reasons might be something that's potentially triggering to others. We need to think about that if we're writing for an audience and where we intend to share those things. We need to talk with kids about the fact that as their teacher, you are not necessarily responsible for shaping their values. Their parents are, and their community is, and it takes a village, and that it's important to you that they're using the very best evidence to support their claims, but that you expect their parents to maybe be involved in the process. And your mileage may vary there, and your opinions may vary as well. But one of the schools that I work in actually sent a letter home to parents at the start of their argument writing unit, defining their role as a teacher and making it clear that they would not be sharing, for instance, their political views and stances with their students, but that they would be encouraging their students to seek diverse perspectives, and that they would be expected to consider counterclaims, potentially anticipate counterclaims, research around them, and to be able to refute well, which might involve them changing their minds, which we talked about earlier in this week. Parents were encouraged to be involved in the process, but to maintain the same position as teachers, that they were there as guides on the sides to help kids move through the process in a way that was meaningful, but really to not influence children in supporting their opinions necessarily, but to seek and substantiate and better define their own. So the letter home was very useful. I think that it can also be really helpful to allow kids to do independent side projects. One of the schools that I was in recently started considering this because some of the teachers were uncomfortable inviting kids to write widely inside of their argument writing unit. They were worried that kids were going to put controversial and potentially triggering topics on the table. They wanted to be able to workshop the piece and share it widely within and beyond the classroom. And so they invited kids to write about those more controversial topics in their journals or notebooks, and teachers offered to provide feedback in that more sensitive and discreet and private place, and they encouraged them to publish their arguments for outside audiences outside of the domain of the unit itself, in a place where they could do that genuinely and authentically, but without triggering others. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this particular issue, and I hope you'll share them on Facebook or in other networks today. Have a good weekend, everybody.